All right, you ready to deep dive into this shed design thing?
Oh, yeah. Let's get into it.
So it looks like you want to tackle all that clutter in your backyard, huh?
Yeah, or maybe even get a dedicated space for some projects.
That's it, exactly. And you
Yeah.
send over some awesome resources for us to look at. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited to kind of go through all that with you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just a storage box anymore. It's
Oh,
like
yeah. It's so much more.
I could really make it a great space.
It's an extension of your house. Like, it's not just a random thing in your backyard.
Forget the man cave. This is like the
Yeah.
shed quarters.
Right.
But before we get all like Pinterest crazy,
Yeah.
let's talk about you. What's your vision for this?
Right.
Is it like a gardening haven or a workshop or,
Yeah.
a tiny home office?
Right.
What are we thinking?
I think you got to start with the purpose. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And while you're thinking about that, don't forget, size matters.
It does.
And I say that because if it's too big for your yard, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb.
Right.
But then if it's too small and you're trying to cram a workshop into it,
You're going to be frustrated.
yeah, you're going to be real frustrated.
Yeah, it's like ordering furniture online where it looks great in the photo and then it comes and it's like dollhouse size.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's the same thing with sheds. And speaking of size, like our source kind of breaks it down into small, medium, and large,
Right.
which is helpful. But
But it's really about how much you need. Like, a small shed might be perfect if you're a pro gardener, you know what you're doing.
right,
But if you're just starting out, a medium might be better.
especially with all the tools you're collecting.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not just about the square footage. It's how you use the space.
Exactly.
A medium seems to be the sweet spot for a lot of people, though.
Yeah, it is.
They kind of potter around, set up a workbench.
Right.
Not too big, though.
Right. Size.
It's the Goldilocks of sheds.
And the great thing about medium sheds is they can be so versatile.
Yeah.
You can adapt them over time, which is nice if you like to change things up.
Totally. I'm already picturing like phase 1, potting bench, shelves full of seeds, and then phase 2,
Yeah. Yeah.
pegboard wall, tool bench,
Yeah.
and who knows, phase 3, maybe a pottery studio.
Exactly. The
The
possibilities.
sky's the limit.
But even if you are going for a larger shed, you got to be realistic.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If you want a full-blown workshop,
Yep.
you're going to need to check your lot size local regulation.
You don't want to build your dream shed and then have somebody come and be like, nope, gotta shrink it.
Exactly.
So let's talk style, because now we're dreaming big.
Right.
Our source mentions gable, barn, lean-to, and modern.
Yeah, so many choices.
It is a lot of choices.
It's like picking a flavor of ice cream.
It is kind of.
To your backyard.
And each one's got its own pros and cons, like the classic gable.
Yeah,
Like vanilla, it goes with everything.
totally cost effective, good snow shedding. It's the workhorse.
But then you got the barn style,
Mhm.
which is like
The barn.
super
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah.
All that overhead storage.
Great for storage.
You get the loft space.
Yeah.
It's like a little
It's like a little farmhouse.
slice of farmhouse right in your backyard.
Right in your backyard.
I love it. But I can see where it might not be the right fit for every house style.
Right. You don't want a rustic barn shed next to a super modern house.
You don't want to clash.
Exactly. It's all about visual harmony.
Yeah. Then you got the lean-to, which is kind of the minimalist
Right.
space saver option.
Yeah, you picture that right up against the house.
Oh, yeah.
Almost like an extension of the architecture.
That's a great idea, especially if you're tight on space.
Yeah.
Or you want it to blend in seamlessly.
Yeah.
Ooh. And then there's modern sheds, which those seem to be all the rage these days.
Oh, yeah, they're very popular.
And for good reason.
Sleek, stylish, tons of natural light.
Yeah.
Maybe even a green roof if you want to be eco-friendly.
It's like the statement piece.
Yeah.
I'm already picturing myself sipping coffee in my modern shed.
Working away.
Super zen.
Totally.
But our source seems to be really focused on wood sheds. And I'm curious, like, what makes wood such a good material for sheds?
Well, first off, it's so versatile. Like, it's a blank canvas. You can customize it. You can add windows. You can change door positions. You can even add on later if you need more space.
You can't do that with metal or plastic.
Yeah, no, you can't.
So wood really lets you personalize it.
Yes, and it's a natural insulator.
Oh, that's important.
Think about those hot summer days or those freezing nights.
Yeah.
Wood helps regulate the temperature inside, keeping your tools and everything safe.
Right. Especially if you have anything sensitive to temperature in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I've heard those horror stories about, like, tools rusting in the metal sheds
Oh, yeah?
because of all the condensation. No, thank you.
Not good.
And then there's the aesthetic appeal. Like,
Right.
wood is just beautiful.
It's warm and beautiful. You can paint it. You can stain it. You can let it weather naturally.
Right.
There's just a certain charm to it.
It really ties into that whole shed quarters idea.
Exactly.
It's part of your home.
It's not just like
Yeah.
A utility shed.
Right?
It's part of your house.
Absolutely.
And then let's not forget durability.
Durability, very important,
Wood can last for generations
especially if you take care of it.
if you treat it right.
It's a really sustainable choice.
Yeah,
Adds value to your property for years to come.
for sure.
Yeah. So, a shed can really enhance your outdoor space. It's not just about the shed itself.
Right.
It's how it works with the landscaping and the architecture of your house and everything.
No, that's so true. I hadn't even thought about that. It's like the shed is the focal point, but the landscaping is like the supporting cast.
Yeah.
What kind of things should we think about?
Well, even just the approach, like a gravel path might be fine,
Yeah.
but a winding stone path lined with flowers,
Oh, that's much better.
that creates a different vibe. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'm already picturing like climbing roses and lavender leading the way to my writer's retreat.
See, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then how the style of the shed can play off the style of your house. Like
Oh, yeah.
a Victorian home might have a cute little gingerbread trimmed shed.
Okay.
And then like a mid-century modern house, you'd want something sleek and minimalist.
I am obsessed with this whole making the shed an extension of your home concept.
Yeah.
But what about HOA regulations?
Yeah.
Those can be a pain.
They can be a hurdle, but you really got to check those guidelines before you get too far into planning.
Right.
Because some of them have rules about the size, the color, even the roofing material.
That makes sense. It's better to know the boundaries up front and have to like tear your shed down later.
Exactly.
So speaking of potentially expensive mistakes, let's talk budget.
Yes.
Because shed dreams can quickly turn into shed debt if you're not careful.
Oh, absolutely. And that conversation can be tough because there are so many options. You could DIY a basic shed for a few $100, or you could spend as much as a small car on like a custom designed high-end shed.
Okay, that is quite a range.
Yeah.
I'm guessing size is a big factor in the cost.
Oh, for sure. More square footage means more materials, and that means more money.
Right.
And the style, those barn styles with the complicated roof lines,
Yeah.
those are going to be more expensive to build than a simple gable.
Yeah, and those modern designs with all the glass and those finishes, I bet those come with a pretty hefty price tag.
They can, but you don't have to spend a ton to get a stylish shed. Sometimes the simple designs are the most beautiful and the most affordable.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about wood, but what about other materials like metal or vinyl? What are the pros and cons of each?
Right. So metal sheds, those are the workhorses.
Okay.
Durable, low maintenance, generally the most affordable.
Okay.
But they're not great for insulation or customization, and they can get dented and rusty over time.
So
Ah.
maybe not the best choice if you want to use it as a workspace or like a hobby room, especially if you have extreme temperatures.
Right, and vinyl sheds.
Yeah.
Those are popular, especially for people who don't want to do a lot of maintenance.
Right.
Vinyl is resistant to moisture, pests, fading.
Okay.
So it's good if you want to just set it and forget it.
But I've heard they can be kind of flimsy, especially like in strong winds.
Yeah.
And they don't have the same warmth and character as a woodshed.
Right. It can feel a bit sterile.
Yeah.
And you can't really customize it the same way you can with wood.
Right.
So it comes down to what's important to you and your budget.
Each material has its trade-offs.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got all the big picture stuff. Size, style, materials, budget. Can we get to the fun part?
Okay, let's do it.
The details and the finishes. The things that make it your space.
All right. Shedterior design.
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's start with the exterior. We talked about color briefly,
Yeah.
but I want to go deeper. Do you go bold or blend in with the house?
That's a good question. It really depends on your style and what look you're going for.
Okay.
Like a bright color could make the shed a focal point in your backyard,
Okay.
or a more muted color could help it blend in.
Okay, I'm picturing like a deep green shed nestled in the trees,
Okay.
almost camouflaged, and then bam, the door is like turquoise.
Ooh, fun.
Unexpected pop of color.
Exactly. And even the trim.
Oh,
A
yeah.
contrasting trim color can make it stand out, or you could go tonal.
Ooh, I like tonal.
Yeah.
It's sophisticated.
Very nice.
And what about the roof? Do we have to go with just plain old asphalt shingles, or can we get creative?
Oh, you can totally get creative.
Okay, good.
Metal roofing is getting more and more popular for sheds.
Okay.
Durable, fire-resistant, comes in a lot of colors and styles.
Okay.
And if you want rustic cedar shake, shingles can add a lot of charm.
Ooh, cedar shake. So cozy.
Yeah.
I can practically smell the wood smoke and hear the fire crackling.
I love it.
Okay, I'm getting a little carried away. But the roof is like the finishing touch.
Yeah. On the exterior.
It's like the hat to your outfit.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, the exterior is looking fabulous.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the inside.
All right.
What vibe are we going for?
Well, think about how you want to feel in this space.
Yeah.
Do you want it to be light and airy for
Okay.
creative projects or more cozy and intimate, like a little hideaway?
I'm feeling both.
Both.
I want it to be bright and inspiring during the day, but then warm and inviting in the evening.
Okay, so we want the best of both worlds.
Is that even possible?
I think so. It's all about layering and creating different zones.
Okay.
So you could have a bright, sunny workspace near the windows and then a cozier reading nook kind of tucked away.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so light colors for the walls.
Yeah,
And then maybe some lamps for mood lighting in the evening.
exactly. And even the flooring, like a light wood floor, can make the space feel bigger.
Oh, okay.
And a darker stain or a patterned rug can warm it
Oh,
up.
a rug. That's such a good idea. It adds that cozy element,
Yes.
and it defines the spaces. And then we can't forget storage. This is the fun part.
Oh, yeah.
You can do built-in shelves and cabinets or open shelving pegboards, vintage storage bins.
Ooh, vintage storage bins. I'm already picturing myself at the flea market,
I know, me too.
looking for all the treasures.
Yes.
But how do you keep all of that from looking cluttered?
That's the question, isn't it? And the answer is organization.
Right.
A place for everything and everything in its place.
Easier said than done, but I'm willing to try any tips for maximizing storage in a small space.
Think vertical.
Vertical.
Use those walls.
Okay.
Shelves, hooks, pegboards. You can store so much vertically without taking up floor space.
And what about overhead storage?
Oh, yeah.
Like in those barn-style sheds with the lofts?
Perfect for that.
That's perfect for like seasonal decor and stuff you don't use very often.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm feeling inspired, but also a little overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed?
Like I have all these ideas, but I don't even know where to start.
Design paralysis.
It's a thing.
It is a thing.
Yeah.
Here's a tip. Make a mood board.
Okay. Like a vision board, but for your shed.
Exactly.
Okay.
Instead of goals, it's all about your shed design. Gather images of sheds you love.
And colors.
Hardware, flooring ideas, anything that inspires you.
Oh, I love that it's like a visual roadmap for your shed design, and it'd be so fun to put together.
It is fun.
I could get lost on Pinterest for hours.
And that's the point. Let your creativity flow. Don't be afraid to try different things. The mood board is a good way to see what works and what doesn't before you start actually building.
Okay, I'm sold on the mood board idea. What else can we do to avoid this design overwhelm?
Break it down into smaller chunks. Don't try to do everything at once.
Okay.
Start with the exterior, then move to the interior, then do the details like the storage and the decor.
Okay, one step at a time.
One step at a time, and remember, there's no right or wrong way to design your shed.
Okay, good.
It's all about creating a space that you love and meets your needs.
That's so empowering. I love that there's no shed police coming to judge my choices. But what about the people who already have a shed?
Right.
You know, maybe it's not their dream space, but they don't want to tear the whole thing down and start over.
That's where the shed makeover comes in.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't always need to start from scratch.
Okay.
Little TLC can go a long way.
Okay, so how do we approach a shed makeover? Is it the same process, just on a smaller scale?
It's similar. You still want to consider your needs and your budget and your style.
Yeah.
But the difference is you're working within the existing structure.
Right. We're not starting with a blank canvas this time.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean we can't get creative.
No, not at all. There are tons of ways to breathe new life into an old shed.
Okay, good.
Start by figuring out what you have to work with.
Okay.
What are its strengths and weaknesses? What do you want to change?
So let's say I have a basic gable shed. It's structurally sound, but it's looking a little sad. Where do I start?
A fresh coat of paint is always a good place to start.
Okay.
It can brighten it up, make it look totally different.
And while we're at it, let's spruce up the trim. Maybe add some window boxes or shutters.
Oh, yeah, those are cute.
Yeah.
And don't forget about the roof. If it's looking rough, you could replace the shingles or even just paint them a new color.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. The exterior's looking good. Now, what about the inside? It's dark and dingy and full of cobwebs. It's not exactly inspiring.
Well, depending on the condition of the walls and the floors, you might want to paint or stain them. And if you're feeling ambitious,
Okay.
you could add insulation or drywall to make it more comfortable and energy efficient.
Ooh. Insulation would be great, especially if I wanted to use it in the winter
Exactly.
as a workspace.
And of course, you can't forget about organization.
No, we've got to get rid of the clutter.
Yes, create a functional and beautiful space.
Exactly.
Think about shelves, drawers, cabinets, hooks,
Okay.
anything to maximize storage and keep things tidy.
Ooh. And what about...
And don't forget, the finishing touches a new rug, some cool lighting, a few plants.
Okay.
Those little details can really transform it.
I love that it's like a mini makeover for the shed.
Exactly. And the best part is you can make it as simple or as elaborate as you want.
Okay.
You can do a few small projects over a weekend, or you can spread it out over a few weeks or months.
And it's way cheaper than building a whole new shed.
Much cheaper.
Okay. I'm feeling really inspired to give my own shed a makeover.
Good.
But before I grab my paintbrush and head out to the backyard...
There's one more thing we need to talk about.
Oh, right. Safety first. Safety is so important, whether you're starting from scratch or just sprucing up the old shed.
Right. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
Safety gear first and foremost.
Okay.
Eye protection, gloves, a good dust mask. You don't want to be breathing in sawdust all day.
No, you don't.
Or paint fumes.
Exactly. I'm picturing like those, stylish safety glasses they have now.
Oh, yeah.
No more looking like a mad scientist out in the backyard.
Right, exactly.
But beyond just like the gear, what about the actual building process? Are there any common pitfalls that we should try to avoid?
Well, power tools are great.
Yeah.
But they can be dangerous.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you read the instructions.
Yeah.
Don't take any shortcuts.
Right.
And if you're not comfortable with a certain tool, ask for help.
Yes.
There's no shame in calling a pro.
Especially if it's like electrical.
Especially for electrical, yeah, or anything up high.
Right. Better safe than sorry.
Exactly.
So we've covered so much in this deep dive.
We have.
From size and style to landscaping and lighting.
It's like we built a shed.
It's like we did with words.
With words.
But as we wrap up, is there like one piece of advice that you would leave our listener with?
This might sound kind of counterintuitive after all this talk about planning.
Okay.
But don't overthink it.
Wait, really? After we talked about budget and mood boards and...
I know, right?
Okay.
But sometimes the best designs just come from trusting your gut. That little spark of inspiration?
Right.
So do your research.
Okay.
Make a plan. But don't be afraid to deviate from it a little bit.
Yeah.
Let your creativity flow.
Ooh, I love that it's like the shed becomes a collaboration between you and the materials.
Yes.
And the space, it's not just following a blueprint. It's like finding the soul of the shed.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so true. A shed can really reflect you.
Yeah.
Your passions, your creativity.
I'm getting chills.
Yeah.
This has been such an amazing deep dive.
I'm glad.
I'm ready to, ditch my to-do list and go build something.
That's the spirit.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll do like a follow-up episode where listeners can share their shed creations.
Oh, like a shed show and tell.
Yeah, shed show and tell.
We love that.
It'll be a whole shed party.
A shed party.
But for now, we'll let our listener get back to their planning or maybe some demolition.
Good luck.
Yeah. Remember, whether you're building new or giving your old shed a makeover, the most important thing is to have fun.
Yes. Enjoy the process.
All right, folks, that's a wrap for today's deep dive. Until next time, happy shedding.